Welcome to the Keeping Up Appearances podcast. I'm Callum Murray, and with me is
Bob Cole,
Sean O'Hara,
and Michael Tosh.
It's Carney, what's he going to do? Ready! Jackson, ready! Oh, yes!
what time were we guessing for Sean?
58.
58. I was.
I love the way he says, like,
yeah.
I love the way he's like, I'll be late, but, you just record as if, like, can't you just tell us what time you're going to be there so we can all get there for the same time rather than just having to record this bit?
Yeah, be careful what you say.
Yeah, he's got a bad nut head as well. If that doesn't make the cut, I'm going to be very disappointed.
Could be the title, Bob.
Should be actually just nuthead. Everyone know, all the fans will know what we're talking about as well.
I was trying to get I made like a spreadsheet. I think I shared it with Sean. I don't know if you updated it last week. Who actually won last week? I didn't get as far as like the actual scoring because I didn't want to hear myself again.
Bob, I think.
There were some good guesses then. So bad,
I think that there was 3.
No, all your 3 guesses. Yeah, they were all good guesses. Mine was dreadful.
All right.
Hello.
Right, Sean.
Yeah. Great. Do you want to get going? Sorry, I'm late again.
Even later than last week, Sean.
No, I'm sorry.
I said 58 this time, though, so... What? You know, if it's City Arsenal, why aren't we doing City Arsenal?
Because I just don't want...
instead of doing the same things every time...
It'll be Arsenal every week, and it just gets...
fair enough.
I quite like the idea of trying to get, like, a Palace player.
Okay.
But we're not...
Alan will know all the Palace players, though.
That's true, yeah. He's probably interviewed them all.
I play for Palace.
How many appearances in the cage? That's the real question.
Yeah, that is actually a real question. That's what I'm doing as well.
No, but do you not want to do Brighton Liverpool?
But have we done Liverpool since the very first week?
No.
I reckon that's a decent enough idea, and we can talk about the great injustices that they face at the weekend as well, can't we? So we can say that they're guaranteed to get at least 4 pens.
Okay.
When's the derby?
Next weekend.
I think it's next game after Bournemouth, is it?
There's an international break, isn't it?
I was gonna say you're gonna be down 1 for that week because I'm just gonna have to top myself before the derby.
We'll be down 1 for Everton.
Yeah. you can say God rest them before every episode.
So we are all back this week, and we're excited for the return of Marooned 5 after a week off last week in Tosh's absence. So I know he's very excited and eager to introduce this segment, and I'll let him get on with his baby.
Not excited for the return of Tosh, I know it's just said.
The fans are.
Cheers, yeah. Okay, then, just a reminder, Marooned 5 is where we select a topic each week, and each of us has to provide a player, a team, or a match that we think best fits that. The first week we did our favourite football and Mavericks, and this week we're going to look at overrated players. So players we think didn't deserve the hype that they got. The 5th one this week is going to be an Everton-themed one, where we'll all provide our ideas. Okay, then, so first up, let's see what Sean's got to say for his most overrated player.
Okay, so I wasn't sure where to start with this one because I can't say it's a player I've particularly watched a lot throughout my life, or when I was a kid especially. But my choice for overrated player, someone I've never thought deserves the hype, is Roberto Carlos, aka the world's greatest left back, which I just don't think.
Second.
Well, we'll come on to him later. Yeah. Now, I was torn on this one between a number of different players, but I thought I'd opt for Roberto Carlos, mainly due to something that came out on Twitter a couple of weeks ago, in fact. And I know these things that go out on Twitter are kind of there to get like nibbles and people to kind of create debates and stuff. But a random Twitter account, I'm not sure who, released their 100 greatest players of all time. And Roberto Carlos managed to sneak his way in at number 41. which I thought was just outrageous.
So higher than Tom Davis, or
No. Tom Davis was top 25.
I think
Right,
that list
right.
also had Di Maria as 17th, so
Yeah,
I wouldn't
that's
listen to
what I mean.
anything that list says, to be honest.
I know, but that's one of those things. I know that again, it is there to create a bit of debate, and so there's some stupid ones in there.
Don't start slagging off Di Maria.
But Roberto Carlos, for me, from what I remember of him, he was just a bit of a pace and power merchant, and like
massive thighs.
yeah, again, I think. I mean, don't get me wrong, his assist numbers and his goal numbers, as far as I'm aware, for a left back, are actually pretty good as assists. He might be up there. Top.
Sounds like a good player.
Underrated, if anything.
Yeah.
He's actually really good defensively and going forward. Good athlete.
Is he good defensively?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think he is. Like, again, as I say, his assist numbers seem good, but you have to remember he's playing in this Brazil team where he's got like Ronaldo, Adriano, Ronaldinho, Rivaldo. He's got like the best players in the world. He's playing at a Real Madrid team where he's got the best players in the world.
I think the theme is best players in the world play for these teams, aka Roberto Carlos.
So David Beckham, Michael Owen, Jonathan Woodgate, yeah.
David Beckham.
David Beckham's one of the best players in the world.
At the time, yeah.
He wasn't, but okay.
Michael Owen was as well, to be fair.
Not when he was at Real Madrid.
But he was one of the best back then when he was younger.
Yeah.
I
just think he's got reputations based on things that people have seen, as in like little snapshot things people have got from the internet, not from his Snapchat.
His snap score is great.
I'm basing mine off.
Free kicks to everyone.
I'm basing mine off Bebo now, Sean.
Again, though, there's surely got to be an argument though that Brazil team is 3 World Cup finals Brazil got to, and he's in that team, a mainstay. I know he didn't play it, but he played in '98 and 2002. He played in Real Madrid team that won. Again, I assume they won three European Cups around that time, 2 or 3, 98 and 2002, and he's playing every week. I don't know.
But that isn't that the whole point of it? Like an overrated player is going to be in a good team, isn't it? Like my other option was Ryan Giggs, who equally. It wouldn't though, because I think these are those two are two players who play in the best teams, but aren't the best players in that team. They don't contribute as much as other players.
Ryan Giggs did contribute.
Ryan Giggs absolutely did not. Right, I'm having 2 this week. Let's go.
We can probably cover Ryan Giggs in football criminals as well in a future segment of Marooned 5.
Oh yeah, that's next week, isn't it?
Yeah.
Football wrongans.
Yeah.
No, right.
I won't go to Ryan Giggs, but
I'll do Ryan Giggs another time. Don't get me started. But I'm just not having it that Roberto Carlos technically is, especially as a defender, there's no way he's anywhere near the best left backs of all time.
Was he not? Again, I sort of agree. I never thought, but again, I wonder if he was one of that first type. You think of that Brazil team, you think of him and Cafu on either wing back. Were they the first of that generation where maybe the defending didn't come as much as important, so maybe that's where it comes from.
Yeah, 100%. I think they were very much like trailblazers almost in changing how we defend, but then don't call him one of the best defenders of all time. Like
I didn't.
Yeah, I just think all he had was a power. Everyone talks about his free kicks. He just used to blast it. Like, that's it. And like Callum's looking at it, they 100% did. He just used to smash as hard as he could.
I was literally just about to say that one everyone shows against France. I hate that goal.
Yeah,
that's just the biggest fluke of all time. And again, my memory is he tried about 4 million of them and he's probably scored about 3.
Yeah, and then everyone goes, "Oh, best free kick taker ever." He isn't. He just got a hard shot, and sometimes it went in. Same with his defending. A lot of the time, from the research I've done, and according to Mr. Royston Hodgson, a lot of it is pace. As in, like, he could always make those recovery runs because he was absolutely rapid. So he'll get done, but then we'll be able to get back and make that little recovery run. That doesn't make him a good defender. You're getting done in the first place.
Sounds a bit like me.
Yeah.
Last question, Sean. Then before we move on, who would Roy Hodgson rather have at left back? Roberto Carlos or Paul Konchesky?
I think that speaks for itself. Paul Konchesky's not on the list. He should be.
Right then. Anyone else want to step forward then for the second candidate?
I'll go next to keep with the theme based on position, and I'm going to go with Ashley Cole. But he started off very well at Arsenal. I think he had 3 or 4 great years at Chelsea, but I think the way his career ended, I think he peaked pretty early and then plummeted, really. I never really rated him.
Is this anything to do with the fact that you like Baines a bit more than Ashley Cole?
Maybe, but I really never rated him, honestly. Did I cuss out then?
No, I think it's just we're all in shock.
In shock.
I'm surprised. Well, I'm surprised you are in shock just because it's me saying it. So
no, I mean, famously, like Cristiano Ronaldo talks about when he's at United, doesn't he? And he says like the hardest player he ever came up against was Ashley Cole. They just used to pocket him every game.
And them games in 2004 and 2006 for Portugal and England, he was like ridiculous then. I think that's an outrageous shout, Bob, I've got to say.
Yeah, I think he's the best left back Premier League's had. I don't know. Probably if you say England left backs ever, I'm sure he'd be.
Nah,
he'd be in there. He'd be in there.
You're all wrong.
When everyone was talking about that, like,
enough.
that golden generation, like that time, he was the only one you'd say he would actually make an all-time England 11, I think. And maybe now Rooney obviously who could last a bit longer. And maybe Kane will maybe be in that discussion. But yeah, no, I think Ashley Cole, again, he was playing an unbelievable Arsenal time when he played for an unbelievable Chelsea side. I was
exactly.
a big fan of Ashley Cole.
Okay, if we're going with Sean's team of playing in good teams, Ashley Cole played in great teams with great wingers ahead of him. Leighton Baines had one great winger in Stephen Pienaar, then played with the likes of Dinyar Billy Letonov.
How did we know it'd all come back to this?
We said, wait, we won't mention Baines until you... We're not going to mention Baines until the overrated Everton players, Bob. Keep it.
Well, I'm stopping the recording and spoiling the episode if you bring Baines into it.
Oh, great.
Right, moving swiftly on then. Let's say no more, because we do quite need the recording.
Yeah, we do actually.
You want to go, Callum?
I'll go, and again, sticking with the theme of left backs, I am going to go with Andy Robertson. I think is very, very, very overrated. I don't think he's actually particularly that great defensively. I'm not even sure he's that great going forward either, to be honest. I think the way Liverpool played in that period where they were kind of challenging for the title and stuff, and it was a lot of, I thought, like percentage play, a lot of balls were just put into the box and a lot of crosses were made, and when you had 3 strikers like they did have, things were getting put away. I'm not necessarily sure it was to do with any sort of assist quality. I think he makes a lot of mistakes. He's nowhere near as good, and obviously you're saying sort of different plays around him, but I don't think he's anywhere near as good for Scotland. When he was sort of coming through, I think it was a whole before Liverpool, he didn't seem like he was anything fantastic then. I think he's just a good example of like a system player. I think he just was kind of very, very, very suited to that system, sort of being able to press, sort of very high and sort of energetic, fast. But I think other than that, I'm not too sure what his kind of real strengths are, real qualities. And people talk about him, being maybe one of the best left backs around and stuff. But yeah, I don't buy it. I think he's very overrated. I think he's just a typical system player. And I think you take him out of that system of that play, and then I don't think he stands out at all, to be honest. When some of the other left backs you've mentioned here, even that we said they were overrated, which I thought we can maybe argue, but I don't think he would be anywhere near those players, even like the conversation. I don't think so. Yeah, he would be my overrated player.
Anyone want to leap to Andy Robertson's defence?
No, because he's horrible.
Although I hate him, but I also I do love how horrible he is. Like, I love that side of things in footy. So, like,
yeah, you'd love him. He'd play for Everton, wouldn't you? Like,
absolutely, yeah. I think he's great in that sense. But
actually, no, I wouldn't.
Obviously, Everton haven't had a good left back for 30 years, so it'd be good to see what if he did. But I think Robertson. I think he offers. I can see Callum. I think you're right, Callum. I think he is. This is a player. I think most of Liverpool players are, with the exception of a couple of like the Salahs and people like that. Again, I think if you told me like what Sean said, I know Sean was using, but his numbers are very, very good at the assist wise and cross. And I actually think he's obviously a bit more of a complete defender than on the other side with Trent. But yeah, I'm certainly not going to defend him too much.
Is he third most assists? Third most Premier League assists?
Something mad like that, isn't it?
From a defender,
Something mad like.
I'm sure, isn't it like
it is.
Trent, Baines, Robbo?
Ew.
Isn't it Trent, then Baines, then Robertson?
Probably going to
Where's Ashley Cole in that list?
Just one sec. Did you just call him Robbo?
I did, unfortunately, yeah. Which will be edited out.
Right, then I'll go with the fourth. We still haven't picked a left back, but could maybe just throw in. Maybe try and think one off the top of my head. Maybe Alessandro Pistoni.
Yeah, but that's the Everton.
That's the Everton one. I'll go with my original one. My one is going to be Peter Schmeichel.
Did he ever play left back?
Well, he was always strolling about the pitch, thinking he should be.
Getting lobbed.
Yeah, I think I basically informed about. I was watching a program the other day, as I often do, and just flicking through Sky Sports, and it was Gary Neville's soccer box, and it was Robbie Fowler watching it, and he was watching a game with Liverpool, and I think just a big game. And Schmeichel let in two absolute howlers. I know it's difficult for a goalkeeper, but my memory of Peter Schmeichel, a bit like Sean said, he was a bit before our time, really, in terms of his pomp at Man United. But I think everyone talks about him as the goalie, whereas all I ever see of him really is thinking goals. Oh, we probably should have saved that. I think of like the likes of that Newcastle one where he gets chipped for some reason on the edge of his box, and he's basically stood on the penalty spot. But these two there's one where I don't know if people remember it. There's one where Fowler's breaking. And he sort of comes running out for no reason, slips, and all Fowler's got to do is just chip him over his head. And you think, why are you coming out the box there? There's another one where he gets beat at his near post. I was trying to think before of a few more examples off the top of my head. There's one where he seems to get lobbed by Vieira again on his line, pretty much.
He gets lobbed by Perez as well, doesn't he? That one.
Oh, for Villa when he's in Villa, yeah, unbelievable goal. That, to be fair. But yeah, no, and again, it's just one of them things in the back of my mind. I'm always quite critical. I always thought Van der Sar was the same. He was always just every goal United conceded. That time I always thought, why is he not saving that? But I thought Schmeichel, just with that reputation, I think he was just that people think, oh, he was great because he used to come running out making that big stupid shape that he made, and things would just hit him. And even a couple of the great saves you see like that, he's just sort of. And Kasper Schmeichel used to do that big, I can't see it on the camera, but that I don't know, butterfly maybe. But yeah, I always think, annoys me when you watch things with him. People they never like on that Guy Neville program, even though he's made two absolutely terrible mistakes, no one says. It's always they mention how great he was and how great he was in the dressing room, and I'm sure he was, and I'm sure if I'd watched him week in week out, maybe he was brilliant, and that many people probably can't be wrong, I suppose. But for me, he was always. Whenever you see them goals, there's always a Man United game where you watch and you think, why is he letting that one in if he's that great? That was the one that jumped out at me as I was thinking of it, and something I have always thought. To be fair,
I also think I don't know if he's got the reputation amongst footballers just because he was a bit of a bully, wasn't he, at the time? Don't know ex-players talk about him just being horrible, like Gary Neville talked about it, doesn't he?
Yeah, scared of him. Yeah,
you don't know if it's just a bit of fear factor rather than actually being as good as everyone made out he was.
Yeah, and again, there probably is that element. He also coincides with obviously him signing when United start that period of success under Ferguson. I'm sure at the likes of there's no coincidence there. Him being there, Keane coming in at that time, the start of people like Brian Robson, Mark Hughes. They're all big characters, so there probably is that element, and then youngsters coming through. And I think it's probably also an element of the fact he struggled to replace him so much afterwards. They probably didn't get another supposed great one. They had Barthez and they had a couple of Taibbi, Howard, Roy Carroll. They struggled to do that, and maybe it might be, I don't know. Obviously, De Gea was, people criticised. I always thought De Gea was a great goalkeeper, but it might be interesting to see how well he replace him now. But yeah, might pick anything to add, or should we move swiftly to the Everton one?
No great opinion either way on Schmeichel.
Rubbish pick then, yeah. Cheers.
I'm just kind of indifferent to it.
Yeah, I always think he was too busy trying to make himself big, and he never thought about jumping. He just got lobbed every match, as far as I remember.
Good target man as well.
Yeah, scored a good, didn't he?
Yeah.
I was going to say that was the opposite of Tim Howard, who was often too much trying to pretend thinking he was going to get lobbed, so he'd like jump over the ball and someone would pass it under. Right then, as we mentioned at the start, the fifth member of our Maroon Five is going to be an Everton one. So we're not going to necessarily pick one. We're just going to throw some ideas in the ring, and the person who's best at turning everything back to Everton, Bob, is going to pick the person who we're going to send to the island as well. Who wants to jump in first? Who's got an Everton suggestion?
I'll go if you want.
Go on then, Sean.
And again, I say this as someone who absolutely adores this man, but our most overrated player of all time is Duncan Ferguson. Fact.
I'm just gonna mute Sean now.
Yeah, slander.
I'm literally looking at a photo of me and you and Duncan Ferguson, Sean, in my room. It's outrageous, really.
No, I agree. I absolutely love the man. And when the few times I've met him, I've just been in awe of him because he is a hero. But I think that's kind of my issue with it. Is not like our biggest heroes or our biggest hero, especially our generation. Like he wasn't actually that good. No, I know Callum's shaking his head. I'm aware he had the ability, but he didn't do it. He just didn't deliver. And I don't understand. Like, Liverpool fans will laugh at us because, like, you look at their heroes they look up to, and ours is Duncan Ferguson, who struggled to get 10. Let me get his numbers up. Someone else wants to talk.
It's 68, I reckon he scored for us.
This is a new game. I'm gonna go 67.
69, I'll go then.
Whee.
It's a family show,
think,
Bob. Come on.
I think.
Yeah, sorry, can I just... So his second spell when he came back from Newcastle, league goals, 6, 6, 0, 5, 5 and 1.
More than you.
Oh, is that what we're basing it on?
Yep.
How many, just out of interest, while you're on his page, how many appearances did he make, just in case I need to make a note for him? I think Duncan, again, I know what Sean means, he probably was a waste of talent. He didn't do enough, and he was, suspended and stuff. But again, as an probably football, he's probably actually underrated by a lot of people as a footballing ability. Like he was a much better footballer on the ground than in the air. He was absolutely phenomenal. Like, but I know what you mean. There's definitely a case for that because like he should be scoring more than he was there, wasn't he? Like that, there's no denying that.
For the hero status he's got, I just think 100% he definitely should have.
I just love how well he speaks about Everton.
Yeah,
but again, no, that's it, isn't it? Like, all Everton fans need, and I don't think it's a bad thing. We just need someone to care about Everton, and then you love them. But
I don't think he's not a hero though because of how good he was or wasn't. He's a hero just because of like his character and that, isn't he? And like sort of the style of play. He's not a hero because he was good in that sense. It's not like he's not a hero because like, oh, we think he's the best player. Like if you say who's the actual best player we've had at Everton, I don't think
that's kind of what he's saying though.
I'm saying he's just idolised, and I'm not, again, maybe I've misunderstood overrated, but what I mean by that is for the pedestal he's on at Everton, I just don't think he deserves that based on his performances for Everton.
Yeah, but I don't think that's what it's based on, though, is what I mean. I think it's
subjective, isn't it?
It's stature. Yeah. But I agree with that. I think he's actually underrated as like an actual like footballer, like in terms of technical ability. I think he's actually probably underrated a bit in terms of his like the way he was with his feet and that. You see some of the goals like possibly towards the end of his first
spell, yeah.
Yeah, but like with his feet, like very good. Is it the one against Liverpool where he gets it on? Is he United? He gets on the edge and turns.
He turns on it.
Yeah, top corner.
Again,
and he body slam Paul, and that was pretty good.
And again, there's one he scores for Newcastle as well. Again, I think it's against United, the same sort of thing where he spins and it's something on the volley. The two big things. He's like famous for his goals against Man United, and then defenders were scared of him. We see now at the back end when you had defenders like Rio Ferdinand, who were like at that time was probably one of the best defenders in the world. You could tell he didn't want to play against him. That famous goal, he's trying to mark him and gets absolutely nowhere near him. I can carry on there. I'm going to go a striker as well. I was just thinking, struggling. I actually asked my brother Dominic. He was trying to say to me Tim Howard. He hated Tim Howard. I thought Tim did a good job for Everton over the time, but he said he was awful. But I'm going to go Lukaku.
Take that off all day.
And it's actually probably the opposite of Ferguson in some ways, in the sense that, his numbers were very, very good for Everton, and you probably can't argue with that. And there's an argument to say if he's just doing them numbers, it does that just for his position. I always thought he was a terrible footballer. Thought his first touch was horrendous. didn't enjoy watching him. And then also the opposite of Ferguson was all the other stuff about, like every time he'd go on an international break, the club and things like that. And I suppose it's just an Everton player I didn't like rather than overrated. But I also think there was that element of, I don't think he was that good. I think he just, I don't know. And maybe it is just that element of, I didn't particularly like him and I didn't like what he did afterwards. But I always thought he could have been so much better than what he was. He does have everything, I think. And I realise I'm going to get shouted down in this one. He's probably not going to be Marooned 5, but
I
No
actually
chance.
leaning towards agreeing, to be honest. I don't think as a footballer he was actually that great, as you say. Obviously, he scored goals and we needed it. But there was a bit of a spell I seem to remember where, like, it was one of those where if you were to take his goals out of the games, it wouldn't have changed the result as much. He seemed to get like games where he'd score a couple when we were already maybe 1 or 2 up, kind of thing. I don't know. There was just
factor.
there was maybe those things where, like, you think about Ferguson there, maybe scored like really important goals when we needed that one goal. The guy just didn't get that. I just think he, other than goal scoring, which is obviously very important, I just don't think he's actually as much to his game, and I think it's maybe showed kind of since.
When you say, talking about Ferguson scoring like the one important goal for a 1-0 victory, was that not because we were set up to get 1-0 victories, whereas prime Lukaku for us was under Martinez, when we'd at least go out and try and win by more than one goal, which we probably haven't really seen much of since.
No, possibly. I mean, it's a good point. I just think that, like, I don't know. I just felt like people thought he was much better than he was. And don't get me wrong, we'd love his goals now, but I just don't think that, other than maybe scoring, I wouldn't think he added too much. No, just in terms of how needing goals, we'd take it, but I just don't think he's actually that great of a footballer.
The other one I was going to say as well, which I meant to say, sorry, is that I think it's still bitter about that semi-final against Man United, where we knew he was leaving at the end of the season. He was saying he was bigger than Everton. Our biggest game, we battered Man United that day, and he missed about 4 sitters and a penalty. And that's my memory of him, really. But anyone else want to provide one?
I'll go last.
You've got the deciding vote as well, so
yeah, that's right.
Go on, Bob.
Callum hasn't got one. Callum's slagging all ours up. Hasn't got one. Big cop out.
We said the remit was you don't need to actually have one. We should have a discussion.
Oh yeah, well, it's all right. Chip it in.
I was going to say Lukaku.
Giving it the big one over here, and he hasn't even got his own ideas.
Are you going to say Lukaku as well, Carl?
I was going to say Lukaku.
Yeah, if you say so.
But it's a good job. Good job. I'm not taking this as democracy, because it's definitely not going to be Lukaku.
It might not be a democracy next week. I'm in charge here.
I was going to leave it to Callum to see if he came up with someone sensible, because everyone's going to disagree with mine, and I mentioned them a couple of weeks ago. And Tim Cahill. So I've got proper thoughts behind this, and Tosh has mentioned plenty of times in the past when talking about the likes of Seamus Coleman and Leighton Baines being losers, and it's part of my thought process on hating Cahill, not hating but severely disliking, was kind of on that theme, and it kind of epitomises just how bad our loser mentality is when we can idolise players like Tim Cahill, who have next to no footballing ability. Similar to what Sean was saying about Duncan, but Duncan Ferguson's a great man and Tim Cahill isn't, so that's what wins it for Duncan. I just thought he was so limited as a footballer, and when he talked about the kind of double act he had with Arteta, with them being best mates at the time, there was no comparison between the football ability of Arteta and Cahill, and kind of on the theme of Everton's loser mentality, worshipping a player that was so limited. Scored a few goals in the first couple of seasons, but then he did go over a calendar year without scoring, and if he's supposed to be a goal scoring, he overstayed his welcome then.
I think again, my argument to that would be, and again, what you say is right. He wasn't on the same planet as Arteta as a footballer, but again, I don't think anyone would ever say he was. So in that regard,
Cahill probably would.
I don't think he would. I think what Cahill was someone.
He's a terribly vain man. He definitely would.
Okay, well, you seem to know him better than me, but I'll
know him personally.
Again, he was someone what he was good. He was fantastic in the air.
Brilliant.
not that big to score as many headers. And again, he scored everywhere. He scored at all the big grounds. He scored I think famously he did score like pretty much like all of the big boys he scored away at. Scored, is it most post-war goals against Liverpool, I think? I might be right in saying since Dixie Dean. I think, I don't know. You're probably right. He's, if people are saying he's the best Everton player of that time, I don't think that would be the correct in saying, but he was someone who I don't think did let Everton down too many times. And I think, again, on that similar theme of Duncan, speaks very well about Everton. I don't know. I'd struggle to put Kale in there.
Yeah, okay, I agree.
It's a good job. It's my decision then.
And I think like
the spreadsheet, so
I think like Ferguson though, I think if you were to ask people who they rate like the top 5 best Everton footballers, I don't think anyone would say Kale or Ferguson. They're liked and idolized because of just like their affinity with the club and who they were, not because of their football ability. So I don't think anyone actually really overrates Kale as a footballer. Great in the air, great out attacking, and a great threat, but like technically, he probably wasn't actually that good. But I don't think anyone would say that.
Well, are we saying overrated as an Everton fan base or like across like the country, for example? Because I think people do have views on like when talking about overrated, people do have views on Kale and Ferguson of being like what like again if they've not watched them week in week out, people make how Kale is up there in terms of like he was a catalyst, he was one of the best players he had at the time. People do think that.
I reckon they do as well.
Just Everton
he
fans
was
might
one of
not.
our most important players at that time.
No, he was, but I'm saying best because Callum's hung up on best. People would.
I know what you mean, Sean. Yeah, I know what you mean. I don't know. I think the point Callum's saying, I agree with that. He wouldn't be in if everyone was saying an Everton fan, he was your top 5 best Everton footballers. But I think he did most people of our era, apart from Bob. I think he would be in most people's top 5 favourite Everton footballers.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He'd be your favourite. I don't mean you'd say
cult hero.
That's it. Cult hero.
Change one letter in cult hero.
We do a special podcast on Bob's reason for hating Kale. I feel there's something
there. Like a deep dive or something.
Isn't it all to do with Moyes? Wasn't it the Moyes thing?
It's the Moyes thing, yeah.
Oh, that was annoying, but it's not. No, it is. It is just because I thought he was really, really limited as a footballer. And
right, you decided on Kale then, Bob. Go on, stick to your guns.
Yeah, I'll stick to my guns and just wait for the fans to turn against me.
Wait till Tim Kane gets up there, Mr. Vane.
Yeah, he'll be listening. He'll probably be listening. If he says his name on Twitter.
Yeah, he probably does, and he'll probably respond with that video of that goal in the World Cup.
That was an unbelievable goal as well.
It was a great goal.
He posts that on a weekly basis.
Someone's not very good technically.
Wrong foot.
But okay, fluke. That was a fluke.
And again, talk about big time. He scored goals in first Australian to score in 3 different World Cups. Right in saying. Not many people have scored in 3 different World Cups. I should know.
Yeah, he played in them.
Okay, then. So concluding our Maroon 5, most overrated players are Roberto Carlos, Ashley Cole, Andy Robbo Robertson, as Sean would call him, Peter Schmeichel, and Tim Cahill.
Sorry, 5-a-side team. Very unbalanced, but yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of lefties.
Can we throw it out there as well? Callum bottled it when he said he was going to do Salah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, bottled it, didn't he?
Right. Now I'm very wet. 20-6, you know.
I know we're going to have to really get a move on here. Last week's game that we previewed and used as our theme for keeping up appearances was the Newcastle versus Burnley game. We also offered the prediction for that game, but I don't think anyone got it right this week, which is, did we get it right the last 2 weeks?
Yeah.
I think. Did you get it, Sean, and I got it? Yeah. So, yeah.
I think I got it right.
What was the score?
2-0 to Newcastle.
That shows Bob's done his prep.
Yeah, Bob, can you start the review for us, please?
Yeah, I think obviously we all said that a Newcastle win. I think Newcastle obviously convincingly won. Burnley, to be fair, I thought had a few chances in the first sort of part of the game. Nick Pope made that important save sort of early on. But then, yeah, Almiron's goal was fantastic. And yeah, after that, Newcastle didn't really look in any real danger of letting it go. And obviously the sucker punch with the penalty. So, yeah, another defeat for Burnley, but another, possibly important win for Newcastle.
I think they're looking quite lively, Burnley. They seem to have a chance. They had an early one, didn't they? I can't remember, was it Colio show Pope save from, or did he put the cross in? I can't remember.
Sure.
But I think I was just about to say there's probably going to be a time where it sort of all comes to them and he scored 3 or 4. So I need to just check when they're playing Everton to see when they're happening.
I was just going to
Yeah,
ask that question.
yeah, and I think obviously playing them in the League Cup, I suppose, aren't we? But yeah, I don't know. You say with Newcastle, it felt fairly comfortable, but you never know if just one of them chances goes in, doesn't it? And they score 1-0 up early, and Newcastle have got the first home Champions League game, got a lot of injuries. But yeah, I think Newcastle, as you say, meant Almiron great goal. Yeah, I thought the penalty, it was a penalty, wasn't it? I think not many team complaints about that, but I think obviously I heard you speaking last week and talking about Newcastle's, big win. They've got a lot of impressive people. I think, Gordon's looking very good at the moment. I thought,
Some snake, though.
not too weird, listen. We'd be up there if it wasn't if he was still playing for us. But yeah, no, I'd say not much more to say, really. It was a comfortable win for them, and be interested to see how they go against PSG this week.
I want to start firstly. It's not about the match, but did you see Burnley bench? Did you know Jay Rodriguez still plays for Burnley?
Yeah, he came on. He came on a couple of times. As I seen him, he came on against United, didn't he? The week
That was
before.
insane. No, yeah, the thing for me was I've not seen much of Burnley, but you two seem to think that they've been playing quite well.
Mm-hmm.
But all I saw from the Newcastle game was, and I didn't know if it was company being stubborn, but maybe I'm wrong if they are playing well in other games. But they just seem to be staying with the same system. They play a very high line, but they don't seem to have the players to be able to do it. And I just don't know whether he needs to. You look at other teams who adapt their style when they come to the Premier League. He seems to not want to do that. And you think, at what point is it going to change? Because they could be like gone. Do you know what I mean? And not anytime soon, but at some point they could. It's just one of those things where does he need to adapt the style?
I think there's an element to that, yeah. I think Callum will be able to say probably more about the system and things like that. I think the one thing to say is they've had a tough start. They've already played. I think is it United, City, Tottenham, Newcastle away. Oh no, yeah, and Newcastle away. I think they obviously had a game cancelled, which they're playing tonight. So, but I think what they've done is they've shown flashes in them games, like City first game and United. I watched both of them games and they look quite good at times there, but it's sort of okay looking quite good against a team that they're never going to win against. It's that the difference is the game where the next game, whoever they've got, do they play after Luton? Is it Bournemouth? No, we play Bournemouth. They've got another winner. I think, if I remember rightly, I might be completely wrong. I think they've got 2 or 3 reasonable games coming up. And I think that's when the pressure's on. It'll be interesting to see how they do when they've actually got to win a game. Because, as Sean, they're going to have to start winning games, aren't they, rather than just playing okay.
Yeah, I think it's tough, innit? And I don't think company will want to adapt in that sense. I think maybe because we think it's Burnley and we just think that Burnley should play a certain way.
Yeah.
So we're saying adapt to that and just that's how they play. But they've set up and it's obviously company's philosophy and style of play. So I don't think it is. And obviously he's built the team around that. And that's obviously how they've sort of been drilled for the last, year and a half, is it? So I don't think he will abandon it too quickly. And I don't think the players will want to either. It's strange, isn't it? Because in the games, they actually look like it's working. And it looks quite good. I think City, they look quite good. And he still played that way, even against City. So I think if you want to play like that against them, you kind of want to do it against anyone, really. And I think it's one of those. It's a matter of time before maybe they get the rewards for playing like that. I think at the end of the day, it's a results business. But I think, I actually commend them a bit if they do just sort of stick with how they're playing and that. You don't want to just abandon your ideas straight away. Yeah, we'll see. As I said, that they were my kind of surprise team or teams to look out for or whatever. And I still think they'll be all right. Out of the ones that sort of came up and the ones who are down there now, I think they will pick up points. And I think they will get better as the season goes on. I think.
Need to pick up soon. They've got Chelsea on Saturday, so they haven't got an easy game. But they play Luton. Yeah, I think is it Luton tonight?
Tuesday tonight, yeah.
Might be able to pick up 3 there. Right then, moving it on.
Now, because this weekend sees arguably the biggest game of the season so far, Arsenal against City, last season's top 2, we've decided not to leave it to chance on the Wheel of Fortune. And we are going to preview that game, but then play keeping up appearances with a different match. Again, the reason for this is because we don't want to have the same teams over and over again. We don't want to constantly be playing with Arsenal, City, United, that kind of team. So, as I say, we'll be reviewing Arsenal City now and then choose 3 different fixtures from this weekend that we'll go on the Wheel of Fortune for keeping up appearances. So, Arsenal, City, what we thinking?
Obviously, as you've said, it's a big game, probably one of the biggest of the season so far. I think had maybe results been different at the weekend just gone, you might have thought that was, could be a bit of a, not decider so early, but it might sort of chart the way for the rest of the season. But yeah, I think Arsenal will fancy themselves for sure, but can you see City losing 3 games on the bounce? Well, sort of, three games on the bounce with the cup game. I don't think so. But yeah, be an interesting game for sure. Yeah, I'm excited to see it.
In fairness, Cal, I actually could see City losing 3 games on the spin. I think Wolves, not to do particularly great, but they seem to kind of contain City. I know they had loads of shots, but they didn't really look in any danger. Haaland had arguably his quietest game for however long.
Last week.
But I just think, especially with Rodri being out and the whole team having to kind of shift around, I just don't think they're kind of they're as stable as they'd like to be going into this Arsenal game, where Arsenal do look like the firing kind of at the weekend. I know they had the slip up, almost, you could say, against Tottenham. But this week was just a breeze. They all seem to know what to do, and they got the full strength team back. I just think it's a bad time for City to be playing Arsenal, and likewise a very good time for Arsenal to be playing City.
I probably agree, and it's definitely not what City would want. But I don't know. You go into a game, you just feel City will win. I think that's just the kind of the way it feels, doesn't it? I don't know. You just, no matter what the game is, apart from Liverpool when they bottle it every time you play against them, but you just feel that City will just have too much of them.
Does Arteta beat Pep yet?
No, I don't think. Oh no, did he beat him in the cup? Sorry, actually, maybe he did. I don't know.
No, but in the league. I mean,
I'm not sure he has. No, I think last they both came towards the end of the season in the running, didn't they? Because one of them was cancelled. And City won away at Arsenal, and then, like, right towards the end, they battered them at the Etihad. I feel like, I don't know, it just feels like one of them. I do feel like it's the time for Arsenal to beat them. I feel like for that reason, I think Arsenal will feel a bit of grievance the way it happened last year when the 2 games they needed to beat City didn't really lay a glove on them. I've kind of been saying it for a few weeks. There's something I think not right with City. I know they've been winning. I know that was the first drop of points the other day. But I just feel like I know they're missing a lot of players. De Bruyne obviously missing. Rodri's been missing the last couple. But yeah, I was starting to get a bit worried. Well, still am a bit worried that Liverpool could be the team that sort of ends up winning it. But I just feel there's just something, and I don't know. I don't really know what it is. I can't put my finger on it. But they seem to be just not like relying on. I think Alvarez had a good start and scored lots of goals. He's beaten a few teams well, but I don't know. I think Arsenal will win on Sunday. I'm going to predict Arsenal to win. And I'd like them to as well. I'm gonna go 2-1 win Arsenal. I think that'd be my prediction.
I'm gonna go the opposite and say 2-1 City. Just can't see them losing 2 league games on the spin. And I think with Arteta having never beat Pep, I can't see it being this time round, with City being the wounded animal.
I'm gonna go an Arsenal win. I could have potentially gone for a draw, but I don't know. Where's the fun in that? So I'll go. You know what? I'll go 1-0 Arsenal. Keep it nice, low scoring, nice tight game. 1-0.
And I was going to say 2-1 City, but I'll go 3-1 City. Since Bob said it, I'll go 3-1 City.
Right then, should we move on to keeping up appearances?
Yep, sounds good.
These are the rules. We select 3 matches from this week's fixtures, which are entered into the Wheel of Fortune. This will randomly select our featured game. This match will be the focus of our discussions, predictions, and most importantly, our game of keeping up appearances. Once our fixture has been chosen, we'll use an online generator to provide a target number for our game. For us, this is anything between 50 and 450. Our job then is to think of a player who's made that many appearances for either of our selected teams. Whoever's closest wins. Each week, 4 points will go to the closest person, 3 points for second place, 2 points will go to third place, and the person who's furthest away gets 1. These points will be accumulated over the whole season, and we'll update our league table each week.
Our 3 games are in the wheel then, and tell you what, we've got a feast of football for you this week. We've got Fulham, Sheffield United, Crystal Palace against Nottingham Forest, and Wolves against Aston Villa.
Not Forest.
So either way, we're laughing here. So I've spun the wheel, and our chosen game is... I don't know what's worse. It's Crystal Palace against Nottingham Forest.
Oh, for God's
Not
sake.
Forest.
Don't even tell me the number.
Should be
You
our
already
player.
got me, yes, yeah.
So, as previously mentioned, we're not going to preview this game. Time constraints, we're just going to crack on with our game. So, I'll just get our number. As always, the parameters are 50 and 450. And our number this week is 196.
Swung things back in my favour, that.
So we'll take a couple of minutes, as we always do. Again, if you're playing at home, give yourself a couple of minutes, come up with an answer. If you fancy commenting on YouTube or replying on Twitter with your guesses, feel free. We'd love any interactions. But we'll give ourselves a couple of minutes and we'll be back when we've got some answers.
What was the number? 196?
Yep.
Okay.
Does that help in any way?
Yeah. I reckon I've got a bang on here.
Can you have someone if you can't remember the first name?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Especially if the Brazilian.
No.
Well, come on now. I assume he's a...
Unless there are two players that play for the same team with the same surname.
I can assure you, I don't think this fella has got a twin brother.
Exactly. So I reckon you're fine.
Okay.
Right, I've got one Palace player, but do you mind if I go first? Because I might need to go.
Yeah. Okay, so we're back. We've all got one answer. Some of us got two, but it was a stretch. So, Callum, you're going to go first?
Yeah, so... I'm sorry, just before I do it, do you want me to talk about a few considerations I had or not?
Yeah, you can do if you want, yeah.
But that might scupper other people's things. If people give opinions on it.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Don't do.
Or should we just put our answers in the chat quickly? Or
No,
just
ruins the surprise, doesn't it?
Yeah, Callum, just say.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just say you won.
Cool.
I'll give you permission to say my fella's first name, though, if you know.
It's not Sean, is it? Because you've had someone saying that before. So I definitely struggled with this, trying to think of players who, well, I was thinking of maybe 5 seasons. Nottingham Forest player was out of the question. So I was focusing on maybe Palace players. A few went through my head. A couple that I thought were stupid and would have been way out. I tried to think of some from this current team that I thought just seemed to have been there for quite a long time. Someone who's maybe, a bit of a mainstay in the side. And this might be way off because I'm not too sure when he actually moved to them, I think from Leicester. But I'm going to go Jeffrey Slutt as my answer to that. It could be, I have no idea. It could be way off.
I think that's not a bad shout, that.
I'm thinking he might have been there for 5 seasons, 4 seasons, possibly. But equally, it might be well less. So, yeah, but
I think he's been there
shout.
At least 5 years, I'd say. And he probably isn't playing week in, week out. So, yeah, I think that's a reasonable shout. Yeah, good.
I'll go in.
He wasn't your first one, then it wasn't Jeffrey, was it, Sean, your first name? I'll go next then. My one, I couldn't think because Claire's Callum. I had a couple of names again. It was mainly Palace. I was thinking my first thought for Forest, maybe someone like Michael Dawson who started his career there. Maybe a Forest who might have put some time. The one I'm going to keep to the centre half. So I'm going to go Scotty Dan. Again.
Are we all doing nicknames now after Robbo and Scotty Dan?
Could be a good shout.
I just always remember Paul Mason calling him Scotty Dan all the time on Saturday, so I like to do that. Yeah, again, genuinely seem to have been there. I was thinking that first sort of spell when they came up, Palace, and when Hodgson was managing, etc. I don't know. Again, he may have been there much longer. I suspect he'd be more, if anything, but I don't know. I think signed him from Birmingham, but yeah, I'm going to go Scott Dam.
Glad you
Right, my turn. As previously established, I can't quite remember this fella's first name, which tells you he was from quite a while ago. The main thing everyone knows him for is that he used to wear joggers.
Oh,
Gabor. Okay, so
You cut out then, so I didn't hear you say it, but I assume you said about it wearing grey pants.
yeah, wearing his joggers.
And that bit actually cut out for me because of Gabor. I got that.
Yeah, so my guess is, and again, I couldn't possibly tell you how long he was there. He might have been there for ages. Again, I don't know. I just like picking people who do like have a bit of a mad little like niche thing about them.
backstory.
Yeah, like Obafemi Martins and his backflips. I'm gonna go Gabor Kirali and his
kecks
and his joggers.
Was he the first time I seen him? Remember when we finished fourth and we beat them 4-0 later on after Arteta scored a free kick? That was my first memory of seeing them pants. Who was the other goalkeeper they had? They had like a long haired one when they came up. So I remember him. What was his name? Like he was like, and then he came back in the team when we beat them. We beat them. Well, that year we finished fourth. We beat them second game of the season away. Gravison scored a great goal. We played in the white kits because remember we got beat 4 by Arsenal and everyone thought we was going to get relegated. We won 3-1 away there, and it was him in goal.
Baroni.
That's it, Speroni. Great shout. He'd have been a better answer.
Wasn't probably wasn't that was the Arteta game? Was that the James Vaughan game?
Yeah,
the home game. Yeah,
correct. Great knowledge. Yeah, 4-0. That sort of, in some ways, didn't cement fourth, but it sort of we needed to win that game anyway. But apologies, yeah. Digress. Bob, last one.
I did my best trying to get me Everton link in. So there were a few candidates. Had Yannick Bolasie, one of our biggest waste of money ever. Unfortunate with injuries, but still thought he was garbage. Then on the opposite end of the scale, an absolute icon, Andy Johnson.
He was my second.
Yeah, I was thinking about him, but I don't know whether he was there for long enough.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Forest, all I could think of was Kevin Campbell, and I don't think he was there long enough. So I'm going to go. You probably never think I would have said him, but when somebody mentioned Hodgson, I thought of Jason Punchin, or as he likes to be called, Big Jace.
You're doing nicknames now?
Yeah, exactly. I'm keeping with the theme of your daft nicknames.
Famously known around the world as Big Jace as well, I think.
Yeah, so I'll go Big Jace Punchin.
He was a good player. I quite like Punchin. Right then. Who's doing the checking?
How long have you got, Cal?
A few minutes. Great. You want me to check?
Yeah, go on. Mate, is that useful?
Yeah, okay. Ready? Don't know if I'm cutting out. It's probably best if someone else reads it, haven't we? I'll do it quickly though. Okay then, so the scores are in. Check and transfer market because Wikipedia and them dispute each other. So we're going off transfer market. In fourth place this week, someone with 111 appearances and therefore 85 out was the grey panthered Gabor Kirali. So yeah, 85 out, quite a distance, but worth it for just an interesting guess, I thought. The next one, third place, was with 169 appearances.
Way.
Which I've just realised I've done the maths wrong, so doesn't matter. 27 out, if my maths is right quickly off the top of my head, I think it is. 27 out was Jason Punchin. And then in two quite close ones, the top two, in second place with 181, so 15 out, was Scotty Dad. 15 out to be 181, and then that means Callum's our winner with Jeffrey Schlupp, who made 207 appearances. So just the 11 out there. Very good guess, Callum. So Callum getting the 4 points this week. Really good guess. Callum, when I first checked on Wikipedia, it was 199 for Schlupp as well, so I thought you were even closer.
Wow, that was good. Oh well, I'll still gladly take the points.
So then, after 9 games played, let's have a look at our updated leaderboard. Tosh is still on top with 26 points. He's got a 3-point lead over Bob in second with 23. With Callum's win, he's bumped himself up to 22 points, which is level with Sean, putting them two in joint third place.
So another great episode of the Keeping Up Appearances podcast, a very long episode. We hope you've managed to stay till the end. We had a very interesting and heated game of Marooned 5. Some good shouts and some good opinions there. Obviously previewed the Arsenal City game. Hopefully you enjoy that. And it ended up being quite a close game of Keeping Up Appearances as well, with a match that we didn't quite know too much about. But we hope you enjoyed listening. Please like and share the podcast wherever you can on YouTube or X. Tell your friends about it. Maybe try and tell 3 friends about it. We want to try and get the listenership up and build a bit of a fan base. But we hope you've enjoyed. We see you next week. Is that okay?
Yeah, we're just hoping that our listeners have got 3 friends.
The thing is, one of them is going to be one of us.
Joe, did you update the spreadsheet last week then? Yeah, did you say?
Yeah,
I'll have to go.
No, I did it last week.
Okay. See you
Yeah,
later.
go
See you later. Bye.
See you later.
Any coincidence Callum's best performance since we've gone to Zoom? I think he's cheating, but
I'm not gonna lie to you. So do I.